Today, some of the biggest voices from Wall Street to Washington will be joining us for our special coverage that kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. And staying on the economy election, we are back with Robert Shiller from Yale University. He's a professor there and also the author of the new book, Finance and Goods Society. Also with us is economics editor Mike McKee. And, of course, Professor Shiller is also the co-creator of the Case-Shiller Home Price Indexes. And, Professor, let me talk about housing for a moment, because obviously that plays into how voters feel about the economy. Look, whoever wins the White House tonight, Professor, is the housing market still on track to recover, no matter what? The momentum is solidly behind it.
Well, we have about 6 months now of upward momentum. The housing market is different from the stock market. It shows much more momentum. So there are positive signs. The problem is it's not a really strong positive sign yet. If you look at the CME futures market for single-family homes, it's only predicting something like 3% a year, a little bit above the inflation rate. Not a resounding recovery.
Well, is there a policy role for the next president to try to juice that? Some people say that one of the reasons banks don't want to make mortgages is because they're afraid of putbacks from Fannie and Freddie, which the government runs. They could change that policy.
Right. We have to get back to a private sector mortgage market without government dominance. This is a big issue. I've written in my book proposals that we should also at the same time reform the mortgage market. Dodd-Frank called for a study, and that's where it seems to have ended. We have to think about alternative mortgages that don't invite the same sort of crisis where we have 10 million homeowners underwater. We don't want to put Americans in such leveraged positions. And there are other financial designs that seem to me the most important thing to do going forward.
Well, talking about policy and really fiscal policy, we were discussing the fiscal cliff with several lawmakers over the last few days. The last one that I talked to, Congressman Clyburn, says he's absolutely positive that we won't go over the fiscal cliff. How critical is that going to be for the economy, Professor?
Well, I think that we may not go over the fiscal cliff, but I am worried that we're going to see contractionary fiscal policy. Somehow Keynesian economics has become a bad word. But we still need stimulus. We still have 7.9% unemployment rate, and even that kind of understates the situation. We have a fragile economy in Europe, which could tilt us in a downward direction. We're still vulnerable, and yet it seems like we're not capable of doing stimulus anymore. So that's what is really the worry.
Well, what kind of stimulus are you talking about?
Well, I've written about balanced budget stimulus. It was embodied in the President's Jobs Act, American Jobs Act. Last year. It would be a tax increases, Obama said, on the wealthy, and at the same time expenditure increases. That's a balanced budget stimulus. It doesn't raise the national debt, but it stimulates the economy. We need something like that. Unfortunately, the American Jobs Act failed in Congress.
Well, very quickly, about 30 seconds here. Is there a program that works that we know creates jobs, or are we just hoping?
We know how to create jobs. It's a matter of political will to do that. Now, there's two sides of it. There's the Republican and Democrat side. The Republicans make a very good case that we need free market innovation and entrepreneurship. That's right. But we also need fiscal stimulus at a time like this. It's not like one side is completely wrong. We need the right balance. And, my preferences in the next president go towards someone who has more of a balanced view, and that seems to me to be Obama at the present time, even though there's a lot that I like in Romney.
What particular, just quickly, specifically, what do you like about Romney?
Well, I'm inspired that the American people respect a tough businessman. This country is built on business, and if we want to get back to our traditional strengths, that's where it's going to have to be.
All right.
But let's not oversimplify it either. But that is the thing I like about it.
Professor, thank you very much. Appreciate you joining us. That was Professor Robert Shiller. We'll be back in 2 minutes on In the Loop as we count down to the bell.
There are now just 8 minutes until the opening.